Ground control to Major Tom.
We've been expecting you, Mr. Boyd.
His is the worst voice you will ever hear.
Will he offer me his teeth?
The Tommy Boyds Show will teach you nothing. Nothing.
Always read the label.
Nothing but iniquity and wickedness.
If you really bug me, then I'll say goodbye.
Morning. Is it only me that's noticed the furore which has gripped the United States, taken the heat off the White House a little bit? It's something everybody out there is talking about, and I wondered what our two-penn'orth is. It concerns the plight of a group of natives, the Mutas, I believe they're called. They live by the sea, by the Pacific Ocean, a particular part of the Pacific Ocean, and have done for thousands of years. Part of their culture is maritime, and it has been very important down the centuries for this tribe to, once a year, risk all, launch one of their magnificent 60-foot boats, rowing boats, big jobbies though, like the ones at the start of Hawaii 5-0, and go in search of a whale, a grey whale. The grey whales that live, generally speaking, up in the Arctic Circle. Is the Arctic North? Yes, the Arctic Circle. And make their way down to the Baja California region once a year in order to give birth and to mate. For 70 years, the Muta Indians have been denied their birthright, what they see as their birthright, which is to take one of these whales, to hunt and spear and kill and devour and make clothes and furniture and ornaments from this animal. Have you come across the story? It's fascinating. Free call 0500 10 53 89. A lot of people will find it very difficult to make up their minds what is right and what is wrong here, because people who care will care very deeply about the culture and the history and the sovereignty of a Neanderthal people. But those caring people will also care about the whale. As far as we know, they're not fussy about what sort of a whale they take. And these whales fall into three categories. The bull, all right, who can, generally speaking, look after themselves. They're strong and they're fit and they're intact. The cow, who is on her way south, weighed down with a 1-ton baby in her womb, and on the way back, absolutely exhausted, because not only has she had to give birth to a 1-ton calf, but feed it 40 pounds of fresh milk a day, which means she's got to feed herself up and create plenty of blubber. But then, within 10 days of giving birth to a 1-ton baby whale, she has to be impregnated again by the bull. So she's pretty knackered and is usually a pretty good target. In fact, when old Scammon used to farm this region, he was one of the great whalers of all time, Captain Scammon. He always used to make a beeline for the cows because they simply couldn't defend themselves. Well, nobody knows whether the natives, the Mutas, are going to aim for the calves, aim for the cows, or aim for the bulls. They won't aim for the calves. They're not big enough. They want a 50-tonner. They want a mum or a dad. And I just think it's a very tricky one. I think if you care, you don't know who you care most about. If you don't care, of course, I think you're on the side of the natives for a whole range of reasons. One, because, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like fun, doesn't it? There you are, pitting your skill and your courage against what is, let me tell you, the most dangerous animal on Earth. Yeah. People talk about tigers, they talk about sharks, they talk about alligators, they talk about king cobra snakes. I'm here to tell you that this whale, the grey whale, known by the whalers as Old Hardhead, known to naturalists as Escherichthys robustus, is the most dangerous creature on Earth. I've seen it with my own bare eyes trying to kill a man, and when I was working with them, they actually did away with 2 other fishermen in the area, killed them outright. Free call 0500 10 53 89. So where do you stand? With the Neanderthals? If you're somebody who believes that foxes are entitled to kill chickens because it's their instinct, do you not agree that the Mutas are entitled to kill a whale because that is also their instinct. Free call 0500 10 53 89. In case you're interested, and there's no reason why you should be, I'm with the natives on this one. There are plenty of grey whales. They have been protected for 70 years, and they are thriving. I read a report over the weekend which said that the seas off the coast of West Scotland are actually thick with whales. It will reach the point where we have too many whales, and something will have to be done. So let's let the Mutas make a start. The number's free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
The afternoon guy.
Misfit, why am I such a misfit?
The Tommy Boyd radio experiment. It does exactly what it says in the papers.
I smell bacon.
Life's gonna suck when you grow up, when you grow up, when you grow up. Life's gonna suck when you grow up. It sucks pretty bad right now. Life's gonna suck when you grow up, when you grow up, when you grow up. Life's gonna suck when you grow up. It sucks pretty bad right now. Life's gonna suck when you grow up, when you grow up, when you grow up. Life's gonna suck when you grow up, and then you're gonna die. Hey, hey!
Tommy Boyd.
It's a beaut. It's a tricky one. If you're a caring person, you don't know who you want. The Muta natives who want to kill just one whale. They've done it for centuries, thousands of years. It's their instinct. Or the whale. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm with the natives. Glyn calls from Bridgend. You're on Talk Radio. Glyn, good afternoon.
Hello.
Glenn.
I'm very much on the side of the whale here, I have to say. I find that the whale is very defenceless. It can't fight back on the subject. There's not much it can do.
You! Oh, God! This is the most ignorant thing I've heard on the radio for weeks.
Sounds like me.
Glyn, the whales can't fight back. This is the most vicious creature on Earth. The grey whale is a killer.
And
The grey whale sinks boats. It sinks ships. I've seen it trying to kill men with my own eyes.
yeah, it fights back, but it's more of a life or death matter.
Look, these natives, man, all they want is one whale. There are tens of thousands of grey whales out there in the ocean. This is what these people have always done. Doesn't there come a time, when people matter as well as dumb animals?
Yeah, but the people aren't going to lose anything much out. They're going to lose their tradition, but the whale's going to lose his life.
Well, we're all going to die
Whale's gonna lose
sometime.
everything.
Well, I mean, life's got to be worth living, hasn't it? And it's a central plank of their culture. These people who have lived, and for 70 years, they've obeyed the law. They didn't like it, but they obeyed it. They didn't go out and hunt whales in the middle of the night or say they weren't doing it like the Japanese are alleged to have done. They obeyed the law, and now they're saying, look, there are lots of these whales. They're not an endangered species anymore. Quite the opposite. It'll get to the point, where the plankton is an endangered species.
So, would you eat whale? Would you eat whale?
I certainly would eat whale, yes, under certain circumstances. I'm not going to expect to see it turning out on the fish counter at Waitrose, but if I were visiting the Muta Indians and they offered me whale meat, I and you would recognise the sanctity of the meal, and we'd eat it, wouldn't we?
Well, no, not me particularly.
Why not? Oh, you'd offend them, would you?
Well, no, it's just the fact I'm a vegetarian, really, but that's just something different, really, from the conversation.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. Kieran calls from Manchester. Kieran, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Hello?
Kieran,
Hello,
turn your radio off.
Yeah, I think it's a disgrace. I don't know how you can say people should agree with that. And it should be allowed.
It's not a disgrace, is it?
Yeah, it is. You shouldn't do that. Because they've not done any harm, have they? And it's not an essential. We don't really need them, do we?
No, men don't hunt animals in retribution, Kieran. They hunt... Primitive men hunt animals because they need to feed their children.
Yeah, well, there must be other ways.
They haven't put up wanted posters all around the village, with a particular whale who has done something.
Yeah, but they still must be able to get food another way rather than go hunting for whales.
And what would that be?
Eh?
And what would that be?
McDonald's.
Have you been to the Pacific region lately?
No.
No, I have.
Well, there must be a McDonald's there. They're all over the bleeding
Do you know,
place.
surprisingly, Kieran, you've got to go at least 4 or 5 bus stops down the road before you get to a McDonald's in the Baja region of California. Well, it's not California, it's Mexico, actually, but anyway.
Yeah, there's food places all over. You'd have to go in Wales to feed your kids.
You do, Kieran, if you are a Muta Indian.
Well, I think people should go and hunt them. They're doing it.
Free call 0500 10 53 89 to Paul, who calls from London. Paul, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Hi, Tommy.
Paul.
Yeah, I think people get very confused about all this. It's a perfectly legitimate practice for them to hunt one whale a year. It can't possibly do either them or the whales any harm. I think what's happened is there's been a problem of exploitation and scale, and now everybody believes, not everybody, but certain people believe that all hunting of all animals is wrong, and yet they're quite happy to go fishing.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's the scale of it. I mean, there was nothing really wrong with the whaling industry to start with, but when it became excessively commercial and they started selling the blubber tallow and all around the world, and it became a multi-billion-pound industry, that's when it was a problem.
These are wise words. Just let me save the idiot forefinger the trouble of dialing to point out that it will do harm to the whale that is killed.
Yes, of course it will.
And that's an issue in itself, isn't it? Because how would you actually hunt a 50-tonner? Supposing you, Paul, with 5 of your mates, had access to a relatively seaworthy 60-foot rowing boat, how would you go about taking a 50-ton whale?
I've absolutely no idea.
No.
It's an almost impossible task.
Exactly.
Of extreme bravery.
Exactly.
And obvious significance to this particular tribe.
And cunning.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, it's a bit similar to, not similar, but the buffaloes were actually wiped out, weren't they?
Yes.
By the British, probably, and Spanish, in order to subjugate the American Indians.
Mm-hmm.
And there was nothing wrong with the balance that the Indians and the buffaloes had. There were always plenty of buffaloes, enough for them to kill them for food and clothing and so on. It was only when the exploitation took over that it became a problem, and now it's saved the buffalo at all costs because it's an endangered species.
Paul, thank you for your call. Free call 0500 10 53 89. A group of Muta Indians have decided that 70 years waiting is long enough. They used to take one whale, one 50-ton whale, one 50-ton, 50-foot whale. Often it was the cow, the mother of a newborn, the recently impregnated mother of a newborn whale that they would take because they were so vulnerable. They were asked to stop it 70 years ago, and they did. But now the seas are alive with grey whales, with whales generally. And they've asked if they can take one more per year, one whale per year, to feed their children and their cultural needs. The American government have said no. And it's a hoo-ha out there. I just wonder what our 2 is. Number again is free call 0500 10 53 89. I've got to say, whale lover, whale watcher that I am, it's only one whale. Only a whale. Only one whale. Darren calls from Preston. You're on Talk Radio. Hello, Darren.
Hi, Tommy.
Darren.
Right, I think they should do it. Yeah, they should do it. Because, I mean, people are always saying about whales, they're intelligent. Are they?
No.
Of course they're not.
No, they're not.
When did you see one win a Nobel Peace Prize?
Well, there are different forms of intelligence, as plenty of people will point out.
Well, what do? They swim around all day, sucking on plankton.
Yeah, it's quite a good life, actually.
Well, it's a good life, but I mean, they're not going to miss one.
No.
They wouldn't miss 2. And let's look at this country, yeah? Let's look at this country. If anybody of the ethnic minorities turn around, and we was turn around to them and say, sorry, but you can't kill an animal to feed your ethnic needs, there'd be an outcry.
There would.
So why not let them?
How would you go about it?
What, to catch the whale?
Yes, it's worth thinking about because, you know, I mean, do you, Darren, do you ever experience from one end of the year to the next that great glorious sense of triumph that the warrior hunter must experience?
No, but I'd like to.
I would.
Wouldn't it be amazing?
Oh, it would.
But I mean, how would they go about it? I mean, that previous caller, yeah, I mean...
I have no idea how they do it.
I mean, it'd be worth to let them do it just so we can see how they do it.
I've scoured the news reports on this event, and none of them have detailed what the actual hunting plan is. I know of a centuries-old hunting technique for taking whales, one man and a spear. And what they do is, or they used to do, is to row a boat as close as they could get to the whale, and then one of the warriors would jump on the whale's back and spear it through the blowhole.
Wow.
Which doesn't sound very nice. But then there's no nice way of hunting anything, is there, really?
It would look spectacular.
But what courage.
Exactly.
What commitment.
That's amazing.
Thanks for your call, Darren.
Thanks.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. All next week.
It's time to poison the water hole.
Cutting edge.
Tommy Boyd.
Sucks less.
You know, I don't want to bring this up, but you've been treating a lot of people with a lot of disrespect.
We're talking about the Muta Indians, who live on the coast of the Pacific. For thousands of years, they used to take one whale per year, to meet all their needs. They packed it in 70 years ago when they were asked politely, because they're clearly a good lot. But they've got a point right now, which is that the whales, well, there's plenty of them. The numbers have proliferated. So why can't they go back to taking one whale? They asked permission, they were denied. Well, they've said they're going to do it anyway, and America's talking about it. It's a tricky one because people who care will find it difficult to make up their minds what they care about most. A primitive people retaining their culture, or a single whale. We got them. Bob calls from Belfast. You're on Talk Radio. Bob, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello, Bob.
Yeah, your argument that they should be allowed to take it because they need to feed their children seems to me utter rubbish. Because if they have, what have they fed their kids on for the last 70 years?
You tell me.
Well, no.
No, you tell me. You tell me what they've fed. You tell me.
Well, they haven't fed their kids on the great whale.
No. So what have they fed their children on?
Well, they've obviously fed their kids on something else.
And what would that be?
I have no clue. I don't live on the West Coast.
Well, with such an absence of information, what makes you think that you have a right to an opinion?
What makes me think that I have a right to an opinion? I have the same right that you have.
No, you don't.
Why?
Because you don't know as much as I do.
I doubt that.
I'm certain of it.
No. Well, at the end of the day, why are you so certain?
Certain about what?
That you're smarter than everybody else.
Because I know more about the grey whale than any living Englishman.
I don't think so.
Well, name one then.
What?
Look, this is getting pure off, pal. Why don't you just take it on the chin? I happen to be an expert on this particular marine animal.
You seem to be an expert on every damn thing.
Yeah, well, maybe I am. Maybe I don't hang around. Maybe I get on with my life. Maybe I do things. Maybe I see things. Maybe I keep my eyes peeled and my ears open and a broad mind.
Maybe you do, but that's not the argument. The argument is, should somebody be allowed to take the whale? And I don't think they should. Just because somebody, has done it 70 years ago does not give them the right to do it again. They're killing an animal. They've got no right to do it. Do you not agree?
I don't understand this wishy-washy idea that you've got to have a right to do anything. Who gives you the right to do anything?
Well, certainly the law is implicit in giving people rights to do things.
So you're talking about the law. You didn't make that clear when you said right.
Oh, well.
Maybe you meant law, but you didn't say law.
No, I just meant a right.
So if the Americans change the law then and say, OK, you can take one whale, that's OK by Bob now? Because they've now got the right. No!
I didn't say that.
Oh, so you are confused. You don't know whether you mean law or right.
No, I'm not confused at all.
Well, we are.
Well, you may be, but then you're not as clever as I am.
That's
but that's
true.
Understandable because you're an radio presenter.
Well, what are you then?
That's one of those things.
What are you then?
What am I?
Yeah.
I'm a marine biologist.
You're a marine biologist.
Yes.
Pull the other flipper.
Thank you very much, Tommy.
Yeah.
You tried, but you didn't get me, so try somebody else. Okay.
No, not okay. You haven't said anything. You're a waste of space. No wonder you'd rather talk to fish.
No, well, whatever I said, you
can't communicate to human beings. Have you ever been out to Baja California?
I have. I just don't think that it's
When were you there?
When was I where?
When were you, working with the grey whales?
Oh, I've never worked with the grey whale.
Right, well, let me pull rank, because I have.
Well, that's very good. It's commendable. Just because you've worked with them doesn't give you the right to kill them.
No, but it means I know more about them than you do.
You may very well.
No, I do.
Okay, well, you do know more about what you say you do. We've got no proof of that.
Oh, so I'm a liar.
No, you said that. I just said we've got no proof.
What proof do you want? What proof is it for you, Bobby boy?
Well...
what?
I would suggest probably a degree in looking after great white whales.
Or even greys?
Or even greys, or whatever you want to call them.
Well, there is a difference, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
In as much as the great white whale is what?
Grey.
The great white whale, which you just mentioned.
Oh, sorry, the great white. My apologies.
Yeah. What's the great white? What's the great white whale which you just mentioned when it's at home?
It's a bloody big fish.
It's a bloody big fish, isn't it?
It certainly is.
You're dead in the water, Bob.
I'm treading it.
The corpse of your argument is lolling in the shadows.
No, well, my whole argument is that I don't think humans have a right to take a whale.
Yes, they do. Because they can. And therefore they then have the dilemma. That's why it's hard being a human being, damn easy being any kind of animal, especially a grey whale. Brian calls from Leicester. You're on Talk Radio, Brian.
Yes, good afternoon, Tommy.
Sir.
I think most of the British public has a problem with some forms of hunting because the human element seems to have an unfair advantage, whether it's guns or whatever. But in this particular case, I don't think that there can be any complaints. You know, it's very brave of these people to go and do what they're doing.
Yes.
It's them against a 50-ton beast, and I have no problems with it at all. I think they should be allowed to do it and go and feed the family in their traditional way.
Yeah.
And get back to the roots.
See, what gets me when people climb in the bandwagon of defending the defenceless whale is that these whales aren't defenceless, man.
Of course they're not.
They're killers.
50 tons would probably squash you, wouldn't it?
No, I'm going to put an idea into the caring, sharing half of the nation's head, which is this. A lot of these natives might get killed.
Exactly. If there's a 60-foot boat, how many of them's going to be on it?
But the caring...
It's gonna be a lot, isn't it?
The caring community don't care.
Well...
They don't care about people. They don't care that these men are somebody's son, somebody's father, somebody's brother. They don't care about that.
Absolutely.
They just want a little whale. Free call 0500 10 53 89. David calls from Telford. You're on Talk Radio. David, good afternoon.
Hello, Tommy. Well, look, how can I trust anything you say when you insist that these people are Neanderthals?
I didn't insist they're Neanderthals.
Well, they died out. God, how long ago was it?
I was implying that their culture goes back to a dawn of civilization, which it does.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily Neanderthal.
No, not necessarily.
But anyway, let's move on then. But I've just thought I'd take you up on that one. Now, the whales don't come up on the land looking for you to kill you, do they? And as far as I know, and you may know better than me, they don't actually go around looking to kill you if you leave them alone. Huh?
Well, again, you see, you're guessing, aren't you, really?
Well, I don't know.
No, exactly, you don't know. Yeah, I do know. I've seen it all with my own eyes.
We
made a
kill
study
more
of
each
it.
other on the roads than they kill us.
Oh, that's neither here nor there, is it?
But I'll tell you what might be a good idea. If you're going to go back to these sort of old customs, let's have the old Saturnalia, what it was called, where somebody is raised up as important for a year, like a talk show host, and then at the end of it, we sacrifice you. How about that one?
Oh, well, I'm not keen on that idea.
Thanks, Tommy.
Goodbye, David.
Goodbye.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. The problem is, if somebody has 5 minutes before they get to air, kind of waiting in the wings, then they start rehearsing stuff. And I don't get a chance to rehearse stuff. It's got to come straight off the top of my head, from the heart. Nick calls from Kidderminster. Nick, the whale or the natives?
Tommy, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You are a genius.
Thank you.
And I think, you know what we should do, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've never ever seen a whale. I've lived with that one up till now, right?
Mm.
So, I mean, like, one less.
Yeah.
That's not going to make any difference, is it? I mean, I think we should just electrify the sea.
Yeah.
Give them as many bloody whales as they want, yeah.
Yeah.
I think fair play. You're dead right, you know, I agree on you. If I bring up and tell you, man.
They're hideous. You
Well,
know?
they're horrible.
No, they're ugly.
We should nuke them.
Do you know that their bodies are covered with the most disgusting parasites you have ever seen? They are crawling. Have you ever had lice?
Never.
Good for you. These whales got it, and they got it bad. They're covered in barnacles about the size of an egg cup, and living inside each upturned egg cup is this louse, aquatic louse.
That's terrible.
It
you know
is
what I reckon,
disgusting.
Tom, right? They're that hideous, right?
Yes.
I mean, like, if everyone's complaining about this whale meat, right, well, try this whale meat. Give them these Muta Indians, they like their meat.
Yeah.
If it don't work, why don't we eat Muta Indian meat? Yeah, see if that works.
I don't think it'll come to that. David calls from Cardiff. You're on Talk Radio. David, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tom.
Sir.
What I want to know is this a ritual, this fish hunting?
There's an element of the ritual about it, yes.
So, really, I mean, is that the main thing?
No, it's a cornerstone of their culture.
Yeah, but one caller just said to you that they managed to live without this fish business for God knows how many years.
Yeah, well, only under duress. It wasn't their choice.
Well, they managed to survive, so they're still there, the people. So, I mean, why can't they have a substitute instead of a thingy?
Where do you get whale substitute in the desert?
No, I don't. Desert?
Yes?
Well, they're going hunting whales in desert, are they?
No, that's where they live. They don't live on these rowing boats. You knew that.
Oh, aye.
Aye.
They don't live on them.
Yes.
No. But why don't they have something like a goldfish or something like that as a substitute? A token thing.
Yes. It doesn't go very far, does it, a goldfish?
No, but it's a fish, isn't it?
It is, and of course so is a whale, I suppose.
Yeah, but I was going to say another thing, Tommy. You said, how could you catch this whale?
Yes, how would you do it?
It was a 60-foot boat, isn't it?
It looks like about 60 foot, yes.
Yeah, well, we're going to corner it.
And do what?
Couldn't they try to corner the fish, the whale?
And do what?
Well, you're going to catch it, are you?
Yeah, but you corner it, and then what do you do?
Then you sort of surround it and catch it.
But then what do you do? How do you kill it? How do you kill a whale?
Well, you probably reason with it or something.
You can't hit it on the head.
No, but you have a...
They've only got sharpened poles.
You've got to find some way around it. I mean, it might be... I know it might be tied up by then.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. You know what will bring out the best in all of us? Because we're pathetic, really, aren't we? We're flaccid creatures, we are, with our pale complexions and our droopy, what used to be muscles, and our eyes, once cat-like, have glazed over with this modern living. What would do each and every one of us a power of good would be to know that tomorrow we had to fend for ourselves and provide for our children using our native skills, our cunning, our guile, our strength, our speed, our ability to work together as a pack of animals. You know, we'd love it. We would. All of us would. We'd love it. The thrill of the chase and the kill. Knowing that it was a necessity that brought us nearer to our God, as well as nearer to a good meal. We'd all be better for it. We'd all be taller spiritually, if not physically. Jim calls from Cardiff. You're on Talk Radio. Jim, good afternoon.
Hi, Tommy.
Jim.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you for asking.
Yeah, me too. Very well.
There.
I want to talk about these whales.
Yes?
Why 18 other Welsh people?
Say it again.
Why 18 other Welsh people?
Oh, a pun.
Wales.
Yes.
Welsh. I'm Welsh. Why are you kidding me?
A pun. An attempt at Welsh humour. Max Boyce's work was not in vain. Jerry calls from Surrey. You're on Talk Radio, Jerry.
Hello there, Tommy. Good
Jerry.
Afternoon.
Sir?
The other caller just stole my thunder, saying that if they've been able to preserve their lifestyle for the last 70 years without hunting these whales, why do they need to actually go back to their hunting methods of 70 years ago?
Yes.
On another, just to give you an analogy, is the whole fox hunting debate and blood sports. I'm not going to get into it. Farmers say that they have to hunt foxes to preserve their livestock. The real point of it is that foxes actually hunt the rabbits, and the rabbits cause a lot more destruction to the livestock of, well, the green livestock of farmers than foxes would ever do. That's just really just my debate in that respect.
Yeah, well, if that's not getting into the fox hunting issue, I don't know what it is, really.
I was my thunder was
confused.
stole.
You're confused here.
It was just that if it's 70 years and they haven't done it in that 70 years, they've obviously got a different food source in the intervening period, and so therefore why go back just because it was a culture that they did have 70 years ago?
But these are people who live on Mother Earth. These are people who worship Gaia. These are people whose understanding of the coming and goings of the season and the reason for us being on Earth is so old and so rich, Jerry. Who are you in Surrey to question their cultural needs?
Well, we should always question our culture, even though we live in
you don't have
suburbia,
a culture,
don't we? You know,
you don't have a culture, do you? You don't have a history. Your people don't exist.
Well, yeah, I'm an Angle, aren't I? I'm from Anglo-Saxony.
You're not even that, are you? You're not even that. You don't know what the Jerrys of Surrey were doing 100 years ago and why they were doing it.
I wouldn't wish to know, to be honest.
You know,
because it's a separate agenda, and we're living in the present.
It is not a separate agenda. You have no proud tradition, but you do live in a house, don't you?
Of course I do. I'm talking to you from a house.
Exactly. And the building of that house depends on the building of a series of cultures and a gathering of knowledge.
Yeah, but then we live in the present now, and while we respect the past, we should move on.
No, we owe the present to the past. And if we forget the past, then nobody would know how to build houses, because that is a gathering of thousands of years of knowledge.
Man does not invent, he discovers, to be honest.
To be honest?
Yes.
Well, why don't you learn to unclutter your thoughts then, pal?
Well, I've filtered my thoughts, and I'm arguing them on this radio station.
Yes, but I don't think you're really picking up very much as we go along, are you?
Oh, I am.
No.
Of course I am.
You're not. Get out there and have a look at what they're like. And be like me, yearn to be one of them, but know that you never will. And
I take a walk in a public park and feed the pigeons. I know what the wildlife is like.
Oh, go on. You listening to this, you keep a straight face. You keep a straight face if I have to. He's had a walk in the park and he's seen the pigeons. He knows what the cutting edge of wildlife is like. Free call 0500 10 53 89. We'll put the whales to bed for now and move on. It's Street Beat Symphony. Transport next.
To keep up to date with the latest, make sure you stay with Talk Radio every weekday evening from 5 to 7 for Drive Time with Peter Dealey.
I bring you the stories you need to know, the latest business news, the world of sport, and the opportunity to have your say on the issues of the day. The point of the program is not to provoke debate, but I'm a moody person. I do it according to the mood. Some days I'm placid, some days I get so stuck in, I just cannot have anything other than a raging row with everybody.
Make sure you're involved with the fastest moving, most informative Drive Time program on the dial. Drive Time with Peter Dealey. Monday to Friday, 5 till 7, only on Talk Radio, 1053 and 1089 AM.
You're pushing me.
There's a good argument for listening.
You're pushing me.
DHL Worldwide Express. We keep your promises.
And so the handsome prince spied a beautiful princess asleep on the bed and kissed her on the lips. Slowly, the princess opened her eyes. "Who are you?" she said, "and how dare you kiss me without permission?" With that, she drop-kicked the handsome prince in the privates, sending him flying back out of the window and plummeting to his death.
The new series of Xena Warrior Princess, Saturdays at 8:05 on Channel 5. If you're saving for a... Barclays can help you save for a... If you're saving for a... Barclays can help you save for a... If you're saving for a... Barclays can help you save for a... Are you getting the most out of your savings? Why not talk to a Barclays personal banker? Their unique new interactive computer system helps tailor your savings to your exact needs. So, if you want your savings to work harder, drop into your local Barclays branch today.
This is Talk Radio, National, the 1998 KPMG commercial radio station of the year.
Experimental road markings ahead.
Tommy Boyds, Street Beat Symphony.
Street Beat Symphony with DHL.
The world's #1 international express carrier.
I've been driving in my car. Take your place in the drive. Who's gonna drive you home tonight?
Tommy Boyd.
Okay, now I don't know how many people listening to this afternoon are driving in a car or a van or a lorry to work, more likely home from work, picking up children from school, ballet or football practice or whatever. It's plenty. I know who you are and I know what makes you tick. I mean, that's the job. And therefore, what I also know is that in all probability, you're alone in the car or the cab. There's nobody with you. You haven't given somebody a lift home, even though there is probably somebody at your factory, at your shop, at your place of work who lives at least part of the way along your journey home. But you haven't given them a lift. You wouldn't give them a lift. Free call 0500 10 53 89. How are we going to persuade more people to share their journey? How are we going to make these cars, which often seat 7 people, but generally speaking are only seating 1 person, a little more viable, a little more environmentally friendly? If you can get 7 people in a machine, well, I mean, shouldn't there be 3 or 4 people in it at most times? I mean, isn't it heinous? Isn't it a crime against all of us when you see these things that are sometimes 18 feet long, okay, and there is just one little lady hunched up underneath the steering wheel driving along in it? It's crazy, isn't it? But what are we going to do? Is it the carrot or is it the stick? Do we penalise people who don't use their cars carefully? Do we tax people who insist on driving 20 miles to work and 20 miles home without offering anybody a lift? Do we tax them? Or do we offer them incentives to offer people a lift? Should we legalise paid-for hitchhiking? Should there be little stops, like bus stops, on street corners, where people who are going in a certain direction, the same direction as the traffic, are able to stop and put their thumb out, and if somebody is going past and their car is absolutely empty except for the driver, they are required to stop and see how far they can take that person before that person says, "This will do me, I'm a left here, I'll get out as soon as you can safely let me out." And the fee for that might be 50 pence or £1. Free call 0500 10 53 89. It's taxed us mentally for decades. Time has come to discuss whether the Chancellor should tax them for it, literally, now. Free call 0500 1053 89. It's Street Beat Symphony with DHL Worldwide Express. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
DHL Worldwide Express won't let you down.
Dad, how hot is the sun? What's England's largest lake?
Oh, that'd be Lake...
What's the heaviest isotope?
Who do you think I am, Encyclopedia Britannica?
There's only one Encyclopedia Britannica, the Encyclopedia Britannica, and now it's even easier to use. Now it's on CD-ROM, giving instant access to every word of the complete 32-volume printed edition, plus graphics, audio, and video. Just type in a question, in seconds you'll get exciting, highly detailed, and illuminating answers. Which other encyclopedia is smart enough to be that simple to use? The Encyclopedia Britannica Multimedia CD-ROM is the encyclopedia you and your family will probably never outgrow. Call now and pay just £25 a month for 5 months at 0% APR. A total of just £125, interest-free. Free phone 0808 100 3100 for the one and only Encyclopedia Britannica. 0808 100 3100. Written quotations from Chancery House, St Nicholas Way, Sutton, Surrey.
Call Action 2000 on 0845 601 2000. Call Action 2000 on 0845 601 2000. Call Action 2000 on 0845 601 2000.
The Millennium Bug could ruin your business. It isn't going to go away. And neither will we. Until you do something about it.
Call Action 2000 now on 0845 601 2000.
Across the world, every day, DHL Worldwide Express.
Giving you more of what you want. Talk Radio. Your views and the news you need. 10:53 and 10:89 a.m.
David calls from Hales Owen. Afternoon, David.
Proposal. Ridiculous. How can you have strangers in your car? For a start, they could threaten your life, or worse still, you could threaten theirs. But it would stop you doing so many other things. You wouldn't be able to break wind for a start.
Yes. So you live in terror and bad and a poor fragrance, do you, David?
I keep the window open, and that would cause people problems. Blow their hair around.
You don't like people, do you?
Female. No.
No.
I dislike them immensely.
Well, it's a question of what's making a worse smell, really, you or your car?
Sorry?
It's a question of which is making a worse smell, really, isn't it, then, you or your car?
I make as bad a smell as I possibly can amongst people because I don't like them.
No, it's
clearly. I particularly don't like people whose sperm would not get to the egg before mine.
No.
Because mine would come down on a parachute.
How big a car... I don't think many people would want to get into a car with you, David. Maybe you should pass some kind of an intelligence test before you're allowed to drive.
Sorry?
Before you're allowed to drive.
I don't drive it. I push it most of the time. It's not... I can't afford the breakdown service, sir.
And then there's the problem, of course, if you are going to hitch a lift with a stranger, that you might end up with somebody whose conversational skills are as defunct as David in Hales Owen. Now, that would be a nightmare, wouldn't it, Sean, in Coventry?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the easiest answer is just get expressways at certain times of the day.
Yes?
That way, nobody's got to be taxed. Traffic city of the world is LA, and it works there. If you want to sit single driver, fine, sit in traffic jams. 2 lanes of their motorways between sort of 7 in the morning to 10. You have 2 people or more in the car, and each lane's divided. If you have more than 2, you're in the outside lane. You drive straight through traffic jams. That way, then you take people off, and people do stand on the exits of motorways, and people pull up and pick people up.
It's a colossal indictment of us as a species, isn't it? That we
I couldn't agree more.
We can't stand the sight of each other.
I do 50,000 miles a year at plus on my own.
Yeah.
But, I'd pick up a hitchhiker any day of the week.
I pick up hitchhikers, and, of course, then sometimes they smell, sometimes they're very boring.
Yeah, but that's your choice.
Free call 0500 1053 89. Jackie's on the M42. Thank you, Sean. You're on Talk Radio. Jackie.
Hello, how are you?
Well, you?
Are you mad? I don't think I'd want to pick up any hitchhikers. I mean, you could put your life in danger. You don't know who you're picking up.
All you people have been listening to the news too much.
I'm sorry?
You've been listening to the news too much.
Load of codswallop. There's no way I'd pick up anybody.
You're living in fear, woman.
Well, I am. I just really wouldn't pick anybody up. But there is the other argument. When I used to work in an office, we used to share lifts. We used to take in turns taking the cars so we would save on petrol. But, I mean, in terms of just picking people up, there's no way. I believe in sharing the cars, definitely.
But what's the difference between giving a couple of strangers a lift and being on a bus?
Are you mad?
I'm asking a question.
Well, the difference is at least you know you're safe on the bus.
Why are you safe on a bus?
Well, let me put it this way. If I'm driving along and I've got a stranger in my car and suddenly decides to attack me, what in hell's name can I do apart from crash the car?
Yes, you can crash the car, you can open the door, you can shriek. There are people all around you.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you driving?
Well, I'm driving on the M42 towards Oxford.
And there's no traffic in either direction besides you?
Well, of course there is, but at the end of the day, you know what people are like. Nobody takes any notice.
When was the last time you were on a bus?
Quite a long time ago.
It shows. Drive on, drive safely. Free call 0500 10 53 89. This is Street Beat Symphony with DHL Worldwide Express. People are driving along in cars built for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, and there's just the one of them there behind the steering wheel. Now, we can do better than that. But how? Is it carrot or is it stick? Barry calls from Tyne and Wear. You're on Talk Radio. Hello, Barry.
Hello, Tommy.
Sir.
Have you considered the insurance aspect?
No.
No, right. Good for you.
Oh.
Every insurance policy, every motor insurance policy excludes use for hire or reward. So it would be the insurance would be void if any, and the driver would be guilty of driving without insurance.
Have you got friends, Barry?
I've got many. Not too many. Got a lot of acquaintances. Not many friends.
Have you never nipped anybody over to the coast for the afternoon?
Oh, yes, but I don't take any money from them.
Why not?
Oh, no.
Why not?
No, I wouldn't. No.
Well, why not?
If they wanted a lift to the coast.
But if somebody gives me a lift, 60 miles, I want to offer something for the petrol?
No.
I do.
No. Well, that's... I'm talking technically.
Yeah, do you refuse to take petrol money?
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
really, honestly, I would.
I'm going to finish the sentence.
I wouldn't take them otherwise.
No, I'm sorry, I'm going to finish the sentence.
Good lad.
Thank you. Do you refuse to take the petrol money because you're afraid of the police?
No.
Why then?
I don't take the money because if I want, I wouldn't take them if they were going to give me money, because I don't want the money. If they want to lift to the coast, they want 50 miles, and I've got the time, I'll take them. Friends, I'll take them. I wouldn't want them. I wouldn't take the money from them.
Right.
Nothing to do with the police.
No. You're not afraid of them or the insurance companies.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm a driving instructor. I mean, I've got to...
the last thing we want to do is upset the insurance companies, or indeed
Well, it's not upset it, Tommy. Technically, it's illegal to take money from somebody for a lift.
Don't want to do anything technically illegal, do we?
No, well,
oh, God,
you know,
no.
well, you know what I
no.
mean. But
no, absolutely.
Technically, it's not right. You can't do it.
Absolutely.
Well, I know.
We don't want to upset the insurance companies or indeed driving instructors.
Well, it's not upset the insurance company, Tommy. No. It's against your policy is void.
Absolutely.
I'm being pedantic, but I'm just putting the legal position to you.
But then driving instructors are a little bit pedantic, aren't
they? Well, I suppose they are, really. Yes, they are. They have to be, really, because the driving examiners are even more pedantic.
Yes. Barry, more aware than Tyne, to be honest. Oliver calls from Reading. You're in Street Beat Symphony with DHL Worldwide Express. Hello, Oliver.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
I agree with you 100%, I do.
Yes. Good.
Well, for one thing, every time I ride down the road and I see people on the bus stop, I'm going to stop and give them a lift. And it's just pathetic because yesterday we drove from Luton down to Reading, and it was absolutely chock-a-block. And I would say for every 100 cars, it was only 5 or 6 with more than 2 people in it, one person in it.
You've got 100 cars and probably about 130 people in those 100 cars.
Yeah.
Now, 130 people, they could make a line if they were on foot. They could make a line. How long would a line of 130 people be?
130.
About 50, 60 feet? No, a bit more than that.
No, about 75.
Yeah, something like that. And yet, how long is a line of 100 cars?
Oh, God.
Half a mile.
Half a mile?
Yeah.
Did you calculate all this before then?
It's the territory they take up, the pollution that they cause, and the fact that because it's one car per person and you've got so many traffic jams, everybody's getting to work late. Everybody's getting home to their children and their loved ones and their grumbling tums and their beans on toast 20 minutes later than they would do if we started sharing cars. Espen has called from Bridgend. Espen.
Hello?
Hello.
My name's Espen.
Hello, Espen.
I'm talking about you should not take taxes from people because you always have to do road tax.
Yes, we do pay
So
road
it wouldn't
tax.
be fair.
No. That's a good point, really. How old are you?
21.
21. I just thought I'd ask, just to check where you were coming from on this one. Are you a driver?
Yes.
You are. What do you drive?
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.